Everybody you'll see in the first 10 seconds of this report is an addict. You're an addict. You are. Addicts. Addict.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 banned TV shows.
Don't be misled. This attitude hides serious emotional distress.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we're looking at shows that were taken off air or prevented from airing at the time they were made, and won't be including shows that have been retroactively removed from streaming. Let us know in the comments which you think should be shown on TV. Number 10. Skins. Specifically, we're talking about the American remake of this classic British teen drama here, which is nearly as reviled as the American version of The Inbetweeners.
How long are you gonna be? Not long now.
But while The Inbetweeners was just plain bad, Skins kicked up a lot of controversy when it debuted on MTV. Even in the UK, the original was contentious because of its candid portrayal of drinking, sex, substance abuse and LGBT issues, but American audiences just weren't ready.
You are a lazy little jerk-off, Stanley. We got plans, remember? Concerning your penis? Call me back.
As well as that, much of the cast was under the age of 18, remembering that the US has a higher age of consent than we do, which all led to MTV being investigated, advertisers pulling out, and the show getting cancelled.
It's better be good. Trust me, Stan, it's good. You finally get behind me.
Number 9. Ghost Watch.
The program you're about to watch is a unique live investigation of the supernatural. It contains material which some viewers may find to be disturbing.
Long-time fans of the channel will recognise this one. The show was so frightening that it was forbidden to ever be re-aired on British TV, and the BBC numerous times had to clarify that it was fake. It appeared years before the era of live ghost investigations, popularised in Blighty by the likes of Most Haunted, which meant people weren't used to that conceit yet.
Later on, we're going to be interviewing the medium who tried unsuccessfully to exorcise the house behind me.
Casting both professional actors and widely recognisable broadcasters, including Craig Charles and Michael Parkinson, the BBC accidentally tricked millions of people into thinking that a violent ghost had taken over the studio.
Did anybody else hear it?
Yes, Suzanne Kim heard it.
Kimmy, if you heard it too, what sort of a noise was it?
You can get it on DVD, but it won't be on the screens again. Number 8. Brass Eye.
To preserve the anonymity of our 15-year-old volunteers, we replaced each of them with 3 5-year-olds, and not one had even heard of drugs.
Few television rivalries are as powerful as the one between satirist Chris Morris and Michael Grade, who was in charge of Channel 4 at the time. Morris and Grade clashed time and time again because of how close Brass Eye got to the line, tricking celebrities into endorsing bizarre causes, like trying to ban the new drug cake.
One young kiddie on cake cried all the water out of his body. Just imagine how his mother felt.
Grade also stepped in to force the show to remove a sketch about Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper, starring in a musical about his crimes. And Morris retaliated by inserting a subliminal message declaring that Grade is a C-word.
But mandrills have been protected by law ever since Queen Elizabeth I gave birth to a child resembling a mandrill by mistake.
Following the hugely controversial Pedo-Geddon special, which Channel 4 tried to prevent from airing, Brass Eye was never allowed to make any more episodes. Number 7. Death on the Rock.
The IRA have admitted that their plan involved explosives, and all evidence suggests that the target was a ceremony that is a symbol of British tradition on the Rock.
While this documentary did make it to air, it was so controversial that it got the body responsible for regulating TV, the IBA, shut down and replaced with a new group, the ITA, or Independent Television Authority. It was made by Thames Television and investigated the notorious Gibraltar killings, where 3 IRA members were murdered by the SAS. That was the official line anyway, and Death on the Rock investigated that, showing the public evidence that the men had surrendered before being shot, going against the government.
They put their hands up when they saw these men with the guns in their hands, but they couldn't say anything. There was no interchange of words. It was just shots.
There was also evidence that the men didn't have a bomb or any weapons. The government itself tried to stop the documentary airing more than once.
Well, it seems to me that if you can get that close to someone, if you can get within 4 feet of your target, is it really necessary to shoot them.
Number 6. The mescaline experiment.
Well, I'm feeling perfectly fit at the moment, and as sane as I ever am, and I'll take the drug now.
The year was 1955, and the counterculture was just barely starting to pick up. A big part of that was hallucinogenic drugs. But just what do these drugs do to someone? Well, Panorama decided to find out by getting Labour MP Christopher Mayhew to try a psychoactive substance, mescaline, on television.
I'm extremely conscious of moving in time, of things having no succession.
It was meant to be a special episode of Panorama, but it never made it to air. It's reappeared since, however, and features one of the early scientists involved in researching these substances, Dr. Humphrey Osmond, quizzing Mayhew about what he was experiencing while he tripped.
In my period of time, I'm up against a long period, but you won't notice probably that I've gone away at all.
Number 5. PopeTown. Back in the 2000s, BBC Three decided it wanted to produce its own contentious adult-oriented programme like a British version of South Park. British version of South Park made by French people, that is.
Oh, lucky young disabled orphans.
Yes, I'm very good with young people, you know. I can really connect with the youth.
However, PopeTown was so controversial it never aired a single episode in the UK, with the BBC apparently very ashamed of the whole thing.
Where are the kids on wheels?
We call them young adults with walking difficulties.
Whatever, where are they?
Over there.
No, I mean the cute ones for the TV.
It lampooned the Catholic Church in a way that was seen by many as going way too far, particularly in its portrayal of the Pope as an insolent child.
Right, my rules for hide and seek are simple. I am the Pope. I never seek.
Whatever, Your Holiness.
Catholics around the world were outraged, and very few countries actually dared to show it on TV. They did eventually release it on DVD in Britain, though. Number 4. The Queen's Funeral. The funeral of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II was the first state funeral since Winston Churchill's in 1965. Not only was the funeral itself televised, but there was round-the-clock coverage from the moment it was announced she was ill, all the way through the lying in state and the burial itself. But after the fact, the royal family briefed journalists and news outlets and picked out 5 moments that they said could never be broadcast anywhere ever again. They also banned certain platforms from airing it at all, like TikTok. Journalists, however, haven't been happy about the decision, saying it threatens the integrity of the British media to be told what to do by the royals. Number 3. Hardwick House. Some comedies get cancelled because they're just too edgy and ahead of their time for broadcasters to feel safe airing them. That's not true for Hardwick House, however, which was cancelled early because it was just awful.
Are there any questions? Anything you'd like to tell me about thoughts you've been having or an urge, perhaps?
It burst onto screens in 1987, focused on a poorly run state school. They were so sure the show would be a hit that it was extensively promoted, only for audiences to hate it so much that only the first 2 episodes were ever broadcast.
And Donna, wear the uniform.
Featuring jokes about predators, serial killers, and lots of stereotypes about South Africa, it wasn't brave or interesting, just rubbish.
Well, what do you think, Smax?
It's horrible, Mama.
I know, darling, I know.
Number 2. Heil Honey I'm Home.
Heil Honey I'm Home!
Yes, you've probably heard of this infamous show now, but it still beggars belief that anybody ever thought it was a good idea. It was a classic sitcom format, designed to lampoon popular American comedies of the day, but went way too far by starring Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun as the disgruntled next-door neighbours of a Jewish couple, the Goldensteins.
You must be real mad at me, honey. I'm a very, very bad Hitler.
1 episode made it to broadcast, but the backlash was so intense that the subsequent 7, all of which had already been made, never made it to TV.
I know why. It's Czechoslovakia. You finally did it, didn't you? You finally went 1 step too far, Mr. Big Shot.
And the fledgling channel that commissioned it, Galaxy, shuttered completely only 3 months later. Number 1. The Jeremy Kyle Show. Though it aired for over a decade, it wasn't until the tragic death of one of its guests who failed a lie detector test that the Jeremy Kyle Show disappeared from screens. Not only did ITV pull all the upcoming episodes, it also put the series on hold and took down its social media accounts. Overnight, the YouTube channel hosting all its most contentious clips was removed by ITV itself, and the show was fully cancelled only a few days after the scandal broke. Jeremy Kyle also found himself out of work, for a while at least. He since returned to presenting, though some MPs actually wanted to try and send him to prison.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.